right, here's another round of problems. This is from your Practice and Problem Solving book, pages 93 and 94. Here we go. We're going to write an equation using slope and y-intercept. So we're going to study the example problem showing how to write an equation using the slope and y-intercept and then solve problems 1 through 7. So we've got Chuck's Appliance Repair right here, and they charge $25 a service fee plus $35 per each hour the repair takes. Want to write an equation that relates the total cost y of the repair and the number of hours the repair takes in terms of x. Okay, so if we take a look at the table, it says use a table of values to find the slope and y-intercept. So when we take a look at this right here, we look at the table of values, what I want you to notice in this, first of all, is that the y values, they're going up by $35 each time. So these ones over here are all plus 35, whereas the x values right here are going up by 1 each time, plus 1. So it's $35 per hour, $35 per hour. Now, if you look at this as well, if you look at the cost, the initial value when x is 0, y is 25. So that is the initial value that goes along with that. So when we're looking at these two right here, they had us talk about the $35 fee and the $25 service charge. That's where those show up in there. So when x is 0, y is 25. So the y-intercept is 25. And then as x increases by 1, y increases by 35. So the slope is 35 over 1, which is 35. You can write an equation for this function by substituting the values for the slope m and the y-intercept b into the equation y equals mx plus b. And when you do that, you get the equation right there, y equals 35x plus 25. So we want to check this equation in the example problem by substituting x for using one of the x values from the table. And do you get the y values shown? So let's just take a look at one of these. Let's just try one. Okay, let's try this one out right here. When x is 1, y is 60. So let's just do that. Let's plug that into our equation right here. So we're going to do that. So when x is 1, y is 60. So we're going to say 60 equals 35, and it was 35x, but x is 1 plus 25. Okay, 35x plus 25, that's what that is. So 60 equals 35 times x, but x was 1, plus 25. Okay, that's your x, that's your y. Well, is that true? Does 35 times 1 plus 25 does equal 60. So 60 does end up being equal to 60. So it checks out. And if you try that with any of those numbers, if you were to do it with 2, okay, 95 would equal 35 times 2 plus 25, okay? 3, if you were to do it here with 3, on this one right here, if you were to do it with 3, 130 is going to equal 35 times 3 plus 25. So it's going to work for each and every one of those. Okay, what do the slope and y-intercept mean in the context of the problem? So let's go back to this right here. Okay, the slope of this. Okay, when you go to the context of the problem, so we're going back to the original problem up here, the slope is the $35 per hour. Okay, the fee plus $35 for each hour. Okay, so it's the $35 per hour, that's the slope. The $25 right here is the y-intercept, the service fee. That's the initial cost. Before you do anything else, they charge you $25 for service fee. So that's what those mean. Then you go to number 3, it says use the table to find the slope and the y-intercept of the function represented. Okay, so what I do is I always try to find the easy thing first. So they say slope and y-intercept, but in the case of this problem, the y-intercept is the easy thing right there. So when x is 0, y is 6. So that's going to be our b value. So b is going to be 6, and y equals mx plus b. That looks like b equals b, but that's b equals 6. Now when we do the slope, it's the rate of change. So it's the change in y. Notice how each of these are going up by 3 each time, divided by the change in x. So 3 over 1. Okay, notice how the bottom, all these on the bottom are going up by 3. The top is going up by 1. So m is going to equal the change in y divided by the change in x. That's 3 over 1, which is just 3. So we put it into y equals mx plus b form. Y equals mx, so 3x plus b, which is 6. Okay, so y equals 3x plus 6. So there you go. There is problem number 3. Okay, let's take a look at problem number 4 now on the next page. So problem number 4. They say, what are the slope and y-intercept of this equation right here? Well, it's just the opposite of what we just did on the other one. You took a situation and did a slope and y-intercept. Now we got an equation. We need to find out what the slope and the y-intercept are here. Well, the slope is the 0.5 right there, the 5/10, and the y-intercept is 3. So the slope of this problem, you're going to write this down. The slope is the 0.5, and the y-intercept is 3. All right, let's take a look at this next one, number 5. Write an equation for the table of values and explain how you got your answer. So when we look at this, once again, it's going back to like problem number 3 that we did earlier. When we take a look at this one, the b value is always an easy one to start with. So there's your b. We know that b is going to equal 1. And then if we look for the slope, well, these are all going up by 4 each time. Okay, 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 4 is 9, plus 4 is 13, plus 4 is 17. And on the top, they're all going up by 1. So the m value right there, it's 4 over 1, which is just 4. So when you put that into y equals mx plus b format, okay, it's y equals mx, well, m was 4, so it's 4x plus, what was the other number? Plus, what was b? b was 1. So 4x plus 1. Okay, y equals 4x plus 1. So there we go. That's number 5. All right, number 6. An amusement park charges $6 for admission plus $2 for each ride. So we want to use the graph to find the slope and the y-intercept. Okay, same thing. It's the same problem. This time it just is a graph instead of a table or an equation. So it's the same type of thing. When you see what it starts off with, on this one right here, they have an initial value. They have that starting amount of $6, and it's $2 for each ride. So if you see for each, if you see per, those are dead giveaways for slope problems. So we take a look right here at the equation. We're going to circle some things. So there is your y-intercept. What I want you to notice is on the slope right here, it's going up 4 over 2, up 4 over 2, up 4 over 2, each time up 4 over 2. So 4 divided by 2, well, that happens to be 2. And if you go back to the problem right here, if you look back at what each ride cost, it was also 2. So there's your slope, there's your y-intercept that go along with it. They want us to write an equation for this function that relates it to that. So it's y equals 2x plus 8. Okay, so there you go. There's number 6. The last one, number 7, they want us to write an equation for the table of values right here. Okay, so for this table of values, this is getting a little bit tougher right here because if you notice, there's not a 0 right here, and some of the numbers are a little different. Okay, this one's a little bit tougher. They're definitely taking up a notch because the problems aren't always going to be easy and always going to be the same. So this goes up 6, and then this goes up 1.5, and then this one up here goes up, what is that? That looks like it is 7.5, and this one looks like it's going up 3. Okay, and if you look at these values, so what do we got here? We got 6, we got 1.5, we got 7.5 for that next one right there, and I'm just going to put a 3 right there. Okay, if you look at these top ones right here, that one goes up 2, and then the next one goes up 1.5, and then the next one goes up, looks like 2.5, and then 1. So it says write an equation for the table of values. I don't know if you can write one for this. It just seems pretty much all over the place right there. I don't think that's going to be a linear function. So I'm curious what they came up with. We're going to go back and we're going to take a look at one of the other problems right here on this one. We're going to go back and take a look at one of the previous ones where I have my little answer key here to go along with this. So let's take a look and we'll just see what this one was. What page are we on? We are on this one right here. So it has 3x plus 1. I'm not sure how they got that one. When we go with these, oh yeah, so we've got the slope is 3 because the y value. So if we take a look at it right here, there's a possible explanation that goes along with that. So y equals 3x plus 1. Let's say the slope is 3 because the y value is increased 3 units when the x value is increased by 1. And then you can use the slope to find the y-intercept. You start at 0.14 and you move down 3 units to the left and then to get to the other one right there. So that could be your answer right there that goes along with that. Once again, I'll zoom that in so you can see it. But there you go. All right, so we are going to move on here. If you got any questions, once again, feel free to ask me. Thank you.